a developing country, in a country like Vietnam, every day brings an almost insatiable appetite for more power, electrical power. It's one of the fastest growing economies in Asia, with an annual growth of 8%. To maintain that level of increase, Vietnam needs to double its capacity to an estimated 26,000 megawatts by 2010. And it plans to do it with coal-fired power stations.
We
are not producing enough electricity to meet the people's demand. Electricity brings light to society and coal slag is reused for construction. These are the benefits.
There are disadvantages too. Phalai Power Station in northern Vietnam is one of a handful of coal-fired plants in operation, but there are plans to construct another 12 within 5 years. It's the cheapest option available, but campaigners say the cost to the environment will be incalculable. Coal-fired power stations cause an estimated 36% of the emissions blamed for global warming, more damaging than motor vehicle-produced carbon dioxide, CO2.
I have to say that Vietnam CO2 is still behind the limit. Factories still have some problem, but I think it is now under control.
Vietnam has a cheap and plentiful labour force and 30 billion tonnes of coal reserves. I'm now about 100 metres below ground at one of Vietnam's most productive mines, producing something like 2 million tonnes of coal a year. Now, Vietnam itself has something like 100 years worth of coal left. It's got a cheap and plentiful manpower supply, and with the fact that hydropower is now at its end in Vietnam and that oil and gas is so expensive, coal-fired power stations are the way ahead. But the energy over environment problem is a dilemma facing many other countries, not just Vietnam. China, for example, is planning to build more than 500 coal-fired power stations in the coming years. Last year, 19% of Vietnam's power was produced from coal. By 2020, that will rise to 34%. The Asian Development Bank is funding a $1 billion coal plant in Mong Dong in northern Vietnam and is well aware of the environmental concerns.
Isn't the poverty reduction, something important? Then, we say that that's also very important. And then for these countries, economy to grow and to reduce poverty, they need power.
17% of Vietnam's 80 million population still does not have access to electricity. Thai is 73 years old. She remembers the day 30 years ago when the lights were turned on in her village near Hanoi.
When we didn't have electricity, it was a very hard time. But when it came, I felt happy. I can watch television, I can hear the radio, and of course the house is brighter.
Thai doesn't understand about climate change. The Vietnamese government does, but they say economics dictate their choices. So they take energy today and worry about the environment later. Tony Birtley, Al Jazeera, Hanoi, Vietnam.